Hello, this is a training video on how to data transfer into Xactimate. Before we continue, I'd like to go over some nomenclature here. Data transferring is a form of importing and exporting, but it typically refers to importing and exporting Xactimate specific file types. In other words, there are other import and export functions within Xactimate in different areas that you can import or export non-Xactimate specific files, such as Word files, Excel, PDF, image files, that type of stuff. So whenever you hear the term or see that anywhere in emails and anybody's talking to you about data transferring, just keep in mind that they're talking about typically data transferring or importing and exporting Xactimate specific files into Xactimate or out of Xactimate. And that would be files, for instance, like macros, trees, which we're going to do today, company headers, opening statements, things like that. They're Xactimate specific. Okay, so first, let's look at these two zip folders we have here. These are the two data transfers we're going to do today in the training video. We're going to data transfer or import in some required Xactimate estimating trees and some Xactimate macros. One thing to keep in mind before we begin is that when you're data transferring into Xactimate, Xactimate cannot see compressed folders. It doesn't even know they exist. It can only see and look inside uncompressed normal folders. So in this case, we have these two compressed folders that we know we can't use because Xactimate can't see these folders. So we want to uncompress them and get the information out of those folders into a normal folder. In this case, we're going to right-click on this tree folder, open. Now we're looking inside of it here. We're in Windows File Explorer right now, not Xactimate. And there's the folder that's compressed inside. So let's just copy that, go back up one folder level, and paste. So now we have our uncompressed Affix Xactimate Trees folder. And let's do the same thing for the macros. So let's right-click on this, open. We're looking inside. Let's copy that, go back up one folder level, and paste. While this is pasting, one thing to keep in mind on this Affix Xactimate trees, if you run affix claims with PaceSetter, they require specific Xactimate trees, estimating trees. Some carriers you work for require these, some don't. Affix does, so we always send these trees out with the macros when adjusters come on with us so they have these available to them and they can data transfer them into their Xactimate. Okay, so now we have our two uncompressed folders of the trees and the macros. So let's look inside it. Here's the tree. These are the three trees we're going to data transfer. As you'll notice, the file extensions on these are .esx files. Again, these are Xactimate specific file types. Basically, ESXs are project files. So every claim that you get downloaded into your Xactimate local project list technically is an ESX file. Okay, so let's go back and look at the macros folder inside that. And these are all the uncompressed macros. We're going to data transfer these as well. Okay, so let's do the data transfer. We'll do one at a time, the trees first and then the macros. So to do this, let's go open our Xactimate, log in. We're going to go to the Tools feature in the navigation bar. So select Tools, and we'll notice on the right, the main pane, we see the first block is our data transfer function. This is where you can select export or import. In this case, of course, we're going to import the trees into Xactimate. So we'll select that button. And then we're going to select this little gray folder, and this is directing Xactimate to where the specific things are located on your hard drive that you want to data transfer. So I know that these are on my desktop and in my training testing projects folder, so I'm going to select that, and there are the available folders inside that we can look inside with Xactimate to data transfer. If you'll notice, those zipped folders are not listed here. Again, why? Because Xactimate can't see those folders. They're still sitting there. If we go back over here to our File Explorer, there's the 2 zip folders still sitting there. If we go back to Xactimate, it can't see them. So remember, you got to uncompress those folders. All right, so let's do the trees first. So let's actually select the folder and say, Xactimate, I want you to look in this folder, and there's some trees in there that I want you to data transfer. So you point it directly to the folder, select OK, and now we're ready to go, and we're going to go to Select Data. It'll go to the next data transfer screen. It's looking in that folder. It sees the 3 trees. We want to data transfer all 3. You don't have to select everything in the folder. In this case, we do want everything, so we're going to select just any one of those and then use the Control-A function on your keyboard in Windows. That will select all the files listed together in a group, and now we select Import. So the import was successful. Now if we go back and look in our local project list of Xactimate, we'll see the trees. Here's one right here, the Affix Homesite tree, the Affix HO Advanced tree, and the Affix HO Classic tree. So we've just data transferred these trees that were not previously here in our local project list, and now they are. We're good to go. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's data transfer the macros. Now, one thing to keep in mind is macros you don't see in your local project list. You see macros listed in a claim. It's a one-time data transfer. They're always there unless you delete them later. So let's look in a claim real quick as an example. Let's just open up one of the trees that we just imported. We'll open up the home site tree. And we'll go see that we don't have any macros, or these macros installed anyway. To see macros, select on the navigation bar on the left. This is within the claim. We're inside a claim now. Select Estimate, Estimate Items. And then just to the right of the tree, you'll see a macro tab right next to your search tab. So if we click on the macros tab, we do have some macros in here. These are Affix specific roof macros and some standard macros at the bottom that default with Windows, but we don't have all those macros in that folder we're going to data transfer in. So let's get those in. We'll save and exit. Again, data transferring back in your local project list in Xactimate. On the navigation bar to the left, Tools, Data Transfer. We're already selected to import, so we're good to go there. We want to redirect this folder out of this tree folder into the macro folder. So let's select the little gray folder, go down to the Pacesetter X1 macros folder, and tell Xactimate to look inside that folder to data transfer the macros. We'll select OK and then select Data. It'll open up the next screen, and now we see all the macros that it's seeing inside that folder. So again, we want all the macros, so we can just highlight any one macro. It doesn't matter. Control-A on your keyboard. That will select all of the files that we want the data transfer. As we can see, they're all selected now. Now we're going to import. This will take a minute or so to data transfer. As we see on the bottom, it's giving us a progress bar. It's actually not a bar, but it's a progress area. 29 of 90 files. So let's give this a minute and let it get all of the data transferring completed. Okay, import successful. Let's close, and now we're going to go into a claim. It could be any claim. Local project list, we'll open up one of the trees. We'll just pick another one. We'll pick the advanced tree. Doesn't really matter what claim or project you pick. And we're going to just verify that the macros actually got in. So estimate, estimate items, and then we'll select our macro tab. And there are all of those macros that we just imported. There's quite a number of them. And then again at the bottom we see the affix roof macros that we saw previously. So that is how we data transfer into Xactimate. If you have any questions on this or any other claims processing issues, please contact your Pacesetter manager. They'll be happy to assist you. Thanks again and have a great day.